What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie, and this is part 11, I believe, of my reviewing and ranking Bob Dylan's Bootleg series. We're now on volume 13. The first release was 1, 2, and 3, hence why I'm not on 13. Volume 13, Trouble No More, 1979 to 1981. The religious years, the born again years. The Bob Dylan found Christianity, and he's going to preach. He's going to make you feel like a jerk if you don't believe in Christ. He's not going to be very accepting of those who don't. He's going to be full on preaching his Christianity. And the thing is, he's really, really passionate about it. Like he believes it. Like, this is Bob Dylan, like, fighting for something he believes in. And that passion is evident in the vocal performances. It's evident in the way the band listens to him and responds to him. So the music is full of this passion. There's background singers who are doing the most awesome background singing stuff ever. The band is ridiculous. There are two complete live shows on here, plus 2 other discs full of live performances, and every single live performance, bar none, is soulful and is gospel just beauty. It's like, some of it's a little rocky, some of it's like acoustic guitar-y, harkening back to the 60s, some of it's like a little piano ballad action, but all of it is passionate, and it's felt, and it's emotional, and it's amazing. This is an absolutely amazing box set. I don't even know how else. Yes, it's from first. I've ranked Bob Dylan's albums elsewhere on here, and I had really kind things to say, especially about Slow Train Coming. I think Slow Train Coming is a fantastic album, and I think Saved and Shot of Love both have some fantastic moments. I'm not a religious person myself, but the way I approach the lyrics to this, it's like kind of the way I approach the lyrics to a lot of sort of like prog metal or prog songs that are like sci-fi stuff, right? Like, I'm not into the sci-fi lyrics. Rush 2112, I don't really care about the priests of the Temple of Syrinx. How do you say that? It's the temple. I can't even remember what that song is now. But yeah, like the sci-fi lyrics and stuff like that, I'm just like, they're a means to an end, right? And so with this, it's kind of like that. I'm like, okay, whatever he's singing about, right? He's talking about me when he's condemning people. He wants to change my mind about things, right? I'm the person he's trying to convert. And so I'm just like, okay, whatever. But what he's doing is he's doing it well. He's telling these stories well. He's still Bob Dylan. It's just now his lyrics are about Christianity. So just with that in mind, just embrace it, because it's all really fantastic. There is one of the bonus tracks there are 3 versions of this. First version, or the smallest version, is there's a 2-disc set of just live tracks of mostly previously released material from Slow Train Coming, Saved, Shot of Love. That's one of the releases, just 2 discs, a bunch of live tracks. It's absolutely fantastic. The 8-disc series, which also has a DVD, the first 2 discs are the same as that 2-disc release. Plus you get 2 extra discs of like bonus, like outtakes and unreleased songs and really, really, really good stuff. And then the last 4 discs are 2 concerts. One is a show from Toronto. The other is a show from, I don't know where that second show is from, London. One in 80, one in 81. And the thing about this is, if I ever want to listen to this album, I don't care what disc I grab. They're all fantastic. Like, they really are. Every single one of these 8 discs is fantastic. The third release, when this first came out, and I do not have this, I have not heard it, and I don't even know if it's still available. There was a bonus, extra 2-disc bonus set, which had a show from San Diego, which is very similar to the show from Toronto. In kind of vibe, and when I get to the Toronto show, you'll understand why. But anyways, I'm going to talk about the 8-disc set, though the 2-disc set is fantastic. The first 2 discs are fantastic. You get a total of 30 songs. Most of them have been released. They're all just live performances from 79 and 80. I think they I think we seep into 81 right by the end of the second. Yeah, we get 81 on the second disc. I think Slow Train opens up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 8 discs. And I'm pretty sure every single version of Slow Train is different. Couple of them, you're like, what song is this? And I think it's disc 4. It's like this really slow, almost like depressing version of Slow Train. You're like, wait, what? They're not opening this disc with Slow Train? You're like, oh no, it is Slow Train. Some of them are upbeat and poppy. Some of them are live. Some of them are studio, but they're all different. And they're all just absolutely fascinating. We get a lot of different versions of Gotta Serve Somebody. On the first release, there's no unreleased stuff on the first disc, but it's all some really good stuff. A really good Man Gave Names to All the Animals. Solid Rock is fantastic. I mean, just so many great songs on here. The second disc also opens up with Slow Train. We finally get our first unreleased song, which is Ain't Gonna Go to Hell for Anybody, which is, had the lyrics not have been about not going to hell for anybody, this could have been a pop hit. This is a pop rock song. It sounds great. It's got hooks all over the place. It's so catchy. It's just Bob telling people he's not going to go to hell for anybody. Ain't No Man Righteous, No Not One is another unreleased song on here. Blessed Is the Name, another unreleased song. But then on this live stuff, as we close out towards the end, we get a couple versions of Dead Man on here, which is a fantastic song. But we get a really good The Groom Still Waiting at the Altar, a really good Caribbean Wind, and a really good Every Grain of Sand, live versions of those that are just fantastic to close out the second disc. So the first 2 discs are just excellent. They're just pretty much live samples of a bunch of live shows, a bunch of live songs from a bunch of live shows from this era in his discography. Disc 3 and 4 are the rare and unreleased stuff. The rare stuff are like sound checks of songs that we heard on disc 1 and 2. But these are complete sound checks. These aren't like we stop halfway through where there's mistakes or like things are rough or like it's like the audio's bad. No, for the most part, these sound like complete songs. They might be shorter in most instances. They might be a little bit longer, but the band sounds great. The energy is good. Everybody's having a fantastic time. We get some more unreleased songs that aren't live. We get Help Me Understand, Ain't No Man Righteous, No Not One. We get a studio version of that. Stand by Faith, I Will Love Him, Jesus Is the One, City of Gold, Thief on the Cross, a whole bunch of more unreleased songs. Really nice piano take on Pressing On. I'm pressing on, pressing on. Disc 4 also opens up with Slow Train, another version of Gotta Serve Somebody. We get some more unreleased songs, Making a Liar Out of Me, Yonder Comes Sin. We get that radio spot on disc 4. Oh, did I talk about the radio spot? No, was I gonna? Oh yeah. So there's on one of the discs, there's a radio spot, right? And it's a commercial to see Dylan on tour. And the commercial starts off, they're interviewing people. And the people sound straight out of Spinal Tap. Like that opening sort of montage in the beginning of Spinal Tap when they're interviewing people outside the show. And that woman's like, yeah, you're just like one with the band, man. That's exactly how these people sound, both men and women. But the first 2 people are like, dude, I hated it. It was the worst show I ever saw. I came here to see rock and roll, and all he's doing is singing gospel. I didn't know any of those songs. And then the third woman's like, well, man, the message is just the same. It's all just about like love. It's just now it's a lot more direct, man. And then the fourth person is like, yeah, I had a good time, man. Bob's doing what Bob wants to do, and I'm going to support Bob. And then the commercial goes, you decide for yourself. Bob Dylan coming soon to whatever city. Really interesting approach to the sort of backlash he was getting, because when we get to disc 5 and 6, I'll explain what some of that backlash is. A Cover Down, Pray Through, unreleased Rise Again, another a studio version, another live version of I Ain't Gonna Go to Hell for Anybody, which is a banger. A different take on The Groom Still Waiting on the Altar, which sounds amazing. A different version of Caribbean Wind, which just kind of sounds even more like just drawn out and ballady. Another great song called You Changed My Life. Another version of a rehearsal version of Every Grain of Sand closes out. But there are so many good hooks. Like we'll get like a basic, like I think one of these, I think it's on the next. No, one of these is just like an acoustic It's just almost sounds like a 60s type acoustic type thing, but again, it's about Jesus. Just some really, really good stuff. Then we get to disc 5 and 6, which is titled Best of Live in Toronto 1980. And it's the best of 3 shows that he played in Toronto, but the set lists were almost exactly the same for all 3 shows. I think there were 4 shows in Toronto. And what you get here is essentially that set list. It's just apparently it's the best performance from whatever of the 4 shows. Covenant Woman was only performed at 1 show. That is on here. And it's this show. This is Toronto 1980. I want to say it was at the end of 1980, like might have been in November. It's all old. It's all new songs. There's nothing. There's no Like a Rolling Stone. There's no Maggie's Farm. There's no Just Like a Woman. There's no Blowing in the Wind. You name it, it's not on here. It is all brand new stuff. And listening to it now, like I find the enjoyment in it, right? Because I know these songs. But you can almost feel the vibe in the room as the show goes on. So he opens up with Gotta Serve Somebody, which is a great opener, right? It hits, it's good, sounds fantastic. Then we get I Believe in You, which has some good energy, right? It's still a little like, all right, this is kind of like, this works. You know, it's 2 new songs to open up, but the vibe is good. The band is fantastic. But then the next couple songs, you get Covenant Woman, When You Gonna Wake Up, When You Gonna Wake Up, which has some good energy, and When He Returns, but you can almost feel the room, just like, is this really happening? Are we just gonna get all these new songs? And then song 6 is Ain't Gonna Go to Hell for Anybody, and you kind of feel the energy turn, and then Cover Down, Pray Through, I don't know, gets me every time. I feel like, okay, I'm in this show. I think the audience is in this show. Whoever has an open mind there in Toronto was in this show at this point, because by this point on, yeah, it's still all the gospel stuff, but everything just seems to sound better and seems to be so much more fantastic. And yeah, these aren't all from the same show, but they were performed in this order, so probably the reaction every night was the same. We close out that side, or that disc, with Man Give Names to All the Animals and Precious Angel. Precious Angel, such a beautiful song. Disc 6 opens up with Slow Train. Then we get a whole bunch of more gospel stuff to close out this show, including band introductions. And the band introductions are fun. When he introduced the band, he has a good time. He jokes around. It's Bob having a good time. Everybody sounds like they're having a good time. And then the last 2 discs, disc 7 and 8, it's a 1981 show. By this point, Bob is like, okay, I'll play some oldies. And it's almost like a mic drop moment when he does, because he opens up with Gotta Serve Somebody, which I think all the shows did. Follows with I Believe in You. Same context as, same set list as the Toronto show. But then he drops Like a Rolling Stone, which is just like, I once dropped that song and people booed me. So here you have it. It's what you want to hear. It almost just seems like an act of defiance. Like, yeah, this is what you came for. 3rd song. I kind of wish he had opened for it. Like, hey, I hear your complaints. You open with it, and then you don't do anything but gospel songs the rest of it. That would have been pretty incredible. But he does Like a Rolling Stone. And then from there on out, we're kind of going back and forth between like oldies, classic oldies, and new stuff. Man Gave Name to All the Animals, and we get a nice, always good Maggie's Farm. Always good I Don't Believe You, She Acts Like We Never Have Met. We get a Dead Man, which keeps that energy going. That's a good song. And then we get kind of a slow down, bring it a little bit delicate, but at the same time still ominous little vibe. We get A Girl from the North Country, and then we get A Ballad of a Thin Man. Both just awesome to close out disc 7. Then disc 8, we get a Slow Train. We get a Jimmy Webb cover with Let's Begin. Get a Lenny Bruce, not one of my favorite. Mr. Tambourine Man, Solid Rock, Just Like a Woman, Watered Down Love, Forever Young. We're really alternating back and forth between gospel and old stuff at this point. Then we get a When You Gonna Wake Up, In the Garden, some band introductions, and then we close out the entire thing in kind of predictable fashion, but the performances are good. Blowing in the Wind, It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, and Knocking on Heaven's Door, which is a song I only like the original of. Not the original artist who did it, but the original version. But anyways, it's a stupidly fantastic box set. Like, every single one of these discs is worth listening to. Like, ironically or not ironically, or just how much I love the gospel stuff, if I had to like rank the discs, Possibly Disc 8, which has like half the tracks are like oldies, is probably my least favorite one on here, just because these versions are on other things. I'd rather hear them just solo acoustic on other releases. And the gospel stuff on here, like everybody's feeling it. The band members, of who's in the band, let's give them a quick shout out. Like I know the live band, Fred Tackett, who would eventually join Little Feat, is one of the guitar players in the live band, right? Yeah. And I know like Cooper plays on some of the other stuff. Santana's on some of the studio stuff. I think Spooner Oldham plays. Tim Drummond's on bass. Keltner's on drums. Jim Keltner's on drums, I think, for most of the live stuff. I have a whole bunch of backup singers who sound fantastic, including someone named Mona Lisa Young, which always makes me think of that movie, Mona Lisa. What was that movie with what's her name? I'm blanking. All right. And then, yeah, Al Cooper plays keyboards on some of the, I think, studio stuff, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, just, it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. I think this is an amazing, amazing release. Where would I rank it if I had to rank it among all of them? I have it all the way at number 2. Yeah, I mean, I think in the matter of musical importance, I understand the Royal Albert Hall is probably ranked up there higher, right? But I listen to this thing way more than I listen to those other things at this point in time. Don't listen to it more than Volume 5. I still think that Live 1975 stuff is my personal favorite. This is a ranking of favorites, not of importance in the history of music, which I think the Royal Albert Hall would probably be number 1. But I love this. I think this is one of the most fun, exciting. I think it's revelatory. And I like those religious albums, but I still think this even shows that music off even better. It makes those albums sound better, knowing how passionate Bob truly was about being born again. But yeah, I have it at number 2, people. Roast me or don't. Just accept that fact and learn to love this album. Learn to love his religious period. And how you, yeah. All right, I was going to make a Doctor Strange love reference, but I couldn't figure it out. All right, that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching. Go listen to this, man. Go listen to the 2-disc set. Go listen to the 8-disc set. Just whatever. This is good music. Put aside, if you have any misgivings about born-again gospel music, about people preaching to you, just accept it for what it is and enjoy it. Enjoy it, man. All right. Peace. That's it. Thanks. Subscribe, like, share, comment, all that stuff. Peace. Talk to you later.